And it is Ford Koch who is going to be starting this one on the pole. He is going to be starting next to Cody Knight, who is looking for a good result today with an excellent starting position there on that second spot. Anicheki will be in P3. And then you've got Keith Grant, who's becoming a bit of a rival for her, starting to the outside. Todd Rutura begins in fifth position. After that, it is Dan Drowan, who starts in the sixth spot. Tom Rogers will begin from P7, as you've got Bill Pelichewski starting in eighth. Greg Checky, a little bit out of position here compared to yesterday. He starts in ninth, and unfortunately, we will not see Chad Knight as he does not have the car to race today, Joey.
Over in 11th place is going to be Greg Herback. Starting next to him is going to be the number 30 car of Spencer Proper. Tad Cusack starts from the 13th overall spot with Jim Johnson in 14th. Tom Kerr back here in 15th with Rob Trollinger rounding out our 16-car Cayman field.
Now, Joey, typically when we talk about the adapting track, the changing conditions, one thing that we think about is the weather. But today, we have to remember, we just had an IndyCar race, and they were running on different rubber than we are. So these drivers better be prepared for a track that probably feels completely different.
It will feel probably just a little bit different underneath them, but the best part about it is that it is the same for everybody. This is the track map that I was talking about, the Alabama roller coaster through turns number 1, 2, and 3. Look towards Charlotte's Web down there. That's turn number 5, our biggest and best passing zone. Turn number 8 down there, the museum corner, can be a passing opportunity, especially if things get crossed up down there in turn number 5. And then where the pace car is right now, turn 12 and 13, you definitely have to be crucial with the car placement through there.
Exactly. That's a place where things can go awry and you can end your race very easily because the barriers tend to be close over that tunnel turn. But the drivers are now getting ready to line up in rows of 2 as they'll be released by the safety car and head off racing for 35 minutes plus a lap. Big thank you to everybody who stuck around here today to watch our last race of the afternoon on Sunday. We hope we give you a good show. And now we can see the cars heading down out of turn 17 on to the main straight, waiting patiently for the call from the flag stand, being led by Koch. And there it is. Green flag is out, and we head down to turn 1. Ford gets a decent start, but so does Cody. He's going to challenge him around the outside. In fact, it looks like he might be able to take the lead away as they head into turn 2, and he does.
That was a power move from the number 3 of Cody Knight going around the outside of turn number 1 to steal away the lead, and now he's got about 2 car lengths between himself and Koch as they hit the brake zone of turn number 5 the first time. Too wide a little bit further back.
Coming down into Charlotte's Web. So far, so good. Back of the field manages to work their way through it. Oh, except it looks like Tom Rogers, who has an off coming through turn 6. He returns to the circuit further down the field.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge loss of track position for Tom Rogers out there. And he's going to have to get up on that wheel and try to climb out of that hole. But talk about heck of a start out there from Knight in that white and red number 3 car. He started in second on the outside. And, oh, that was a big-time wiggle through 10 and 11. He hangs on to it.
Cody now has the pressure on him. He leads the race. I believe this is the first time we've seen Cody lead here in the Sprint Challenge North America Cayman Series. Can he withstand that, especially with a quick driver like Ford Koch behind him? Anicheki also giving chase as we watch him come back around. Our timing is saying that Ford may have lost a position. I'm seeing that is a timing error, and it is not. He is no longer in second place. He must have had a mistake.
Yeah, he's actually buried all the way back to 5th place right now, and he might get taken advantage of going into turn number 1. So maybe something happening with that black number 23 out on the racetrack. He's been really the dominant driver and car all weekend long, but something definitely happening here today.
We've got a yellow flag, but it seems like we've gone back to green. So I wonder if someone had an issue down through turns 2 and 3. Looks like it may have been Herback, who is also dropping down the order. We said this circuit would be tricky with the different rubber being put down. It looks like it really is, as we've had 3 different issues for 3 different drivers in the first lap and a quarter.
It is going to be an exciting race for the next 30-plus minutes, plus that one lap out there. Really happy to see that number 3 car of Cody Knight out front. We've always been wondering what if, and he's just been stricken by so much bad luck. This could be the opportunity for him.
And indeed, it looks like he doesn't even have to worry about what's behind, at least for these early laps, because Anna Checki is on the rear guard. That is Keith Grant in the orange and chrome machine that is putting a lot of pressure on her. And then behind those two, it is our leader in the Masters, Dan Drowan, moved himself up to that spot. Nicely done.
Yeah, you're right. Drowan sitting there in the Masters class lead, and crucially, he's got 2 cars between himself and the next Masters class car of Bill Pelichewski out there. I'm going to kind of see as they go by the start-finish line. It certainly seems that Koch is back up to speed, so maybe it was just a little bit of some cold equipment out there and a little bit of a mistake.
Yeah, he's at least stopped the bleeding at 5th, but considering he started this one on pole, I don't think that's what he was looking for at the beginning of this race. We still have 31 minutes plus a lap left, so he's got time to get back into this, but it's certainly going to be a struggle at a track where track position is so important. He's already on the attack for Drowan, going to try and get him down into turn 5, and he does it. Meanwhile, Todd Rutura is trying to follow him through.
Yeah, and that's pretty crucial for him to stay attached to the bumper of Koch because both of those are Pro-Am cars. We're going to see what Drowan decides to do down here into turn number 7. He hangs tough on the inside, defends the position.
Last lap for Cody Knight was just about even with Anna Checki on pace, maybe split by about 15 thousandths of a second. So for now, it looks like they're running just about similar to one another. Even still, Anna has a mirror full of Keith Grant. Every time we turn our attention to her, he is just climbing all over that rear wing.
And 2 different lines there through 13. Anna opting to stay more on the traditional racing line on the pavement, while Keith Grant was using all of that inside curb that's available there in turn number 13. That's a pretty common place that you can kind of hook the inside of the car and it can really help rotate it through. But I'm more curious about this black number 23 that's now in 4th place. Koch has some clean air. It certainly seems like he's got everything warmed up. How fast can that car go?
Well, apparently faster than anybody else that last lap. He said a 1:30.5, which is purple for his class. Interestingly, that Tom Rogers, who also had an issue early in this race, was purple for his class. In the meantime, they returned back to turn 5 once again. This time, Koch no longer has to go on the attack. He just has to try and make up the ground that he had lost. We had somebody sending it way too deep out into the grass down through turn 5. No, that's not Greg Checki. I'm trying to make that, is that Spencer Proper maybe?
I'm not sure on that one, and he's actually stopped on the right side of the racetrack. Saw a little bit of a puff of smoke in the brake zone, and typically we think about a little bit of a lockup, but these cars do have ABS on them. And it looks like that might be the 94 car from what I saw. Maybe Rob Trollinger, but I could be wrong on that. It's the 98
No, it's Drowan.
car.
It was our
Drowan.
Masters leader, and he's going to pull it behind the barrier. Great heads up by Dan. The race will not be interrupted. He's going to be stuck there for a little bit, unfortunately, but at least he is being very considerate to his fellow competitors, but he's certainly not going to see victory lane today.
There's a giant question mark with what happened to that, but you're right. Great heads-up move from that driver to not spoil the race for anybody else. Very, very unselfish out there. Great move.
And worth noting that promotes Bill Pelichewski up to the lead of the Masters. I did see a big trail of smoke coming out the tires, looking like he locked them up. I don't know if that's related to why he pulled it off to the side, if there was maybe a failure with the electronics or something. But regardless, as we speculate, he is out. And Anna Checki seems to be catching up a little bit. It is down to 0.9 of a second behind Cody Knight.
I think it was in sector number 1 there that she definitely closed it in, probably about maybe 1.5. And I was expecting a little bit more out of that car in 4th place early on, but he could have also gotten a radio transmission about the potential yellow flag down there at turn number 5. I think we're going to have a really, really fun race on our hands with these top 4 cars starting to accordion together.
And a number of drivers out of position. Tom Rogers, you could consider in that too. He gets back up to 3rd in class, but still has to pass Spencer Proper to get to Greg Checki and Bill Pelichewski. We see him on screen now. This is Tom in the yellow, white, and red striped car. just behind Spencer Proper in the black and white. He's getting right up on top of him, but there's very few places to pass on the back half of the course.
Tom Rogers is motivated. Just look at where he's placing the car all over the back bumper of Proper and then really maximizing the width of the racetrack up and through what was turn number 13 there. Our leaders cross the start-finish line, and I see purple, fastest lap. Ford Koch, a half second clear of anybody else.
Yeah, he was 0.6 of a second faster than our leader that time. Tom Rogers with a brave move down into turn 1, and that is going to move him up into 8th overall. Now he can set his sights on catching Greg and Bill.
That's going to be really, really fun to watch. I mentioned our top 4 overall starting to come together. Well, I think the Masters class lead is almost a copy and paste over there as well, because Tom Rogers has been one of the fastest cars in that class all weekend long. I expect him to continue to close the gap as well.
Odd report here. Drowan's car is still moving, actually, and it looks like he's trying to turn it around. I don't know if he's attempting to return to the race. I've never seen something like this before.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it right now. We'll see if he actually comes back out to the racetrack, as we got side-by-side action here in turn number 7. That was one of the cars slipping down the inside there. Nice move.
Yeah, down into that 7-8 complex is not easy to make that one stick. I think that might be the 74 involved in that one. If that's the case, it's Tom Kerr and Greg Herback, potentially.
I think it could also be Tad Cusack and Jim Johnson.
Yes, I think you're right.
And that there was Jim getting passed down there in turn number 7, but I think our best race is actually here into turn number 1 right now, because Ford Koch has officially caught the back end of Keith Grant, that orange machine, through the Alabama roller coaster right now. We're going to see if he's close enough to actually make a potential pass down here into turn number 5 as we watch the number 15 cross the start-finish line.
Yeah, Cusack ahead of Johnson. That is a battle for 4th in their Masters class. I can tell you that while there wasn't a pass in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th battle, it's getting mighty, mighty close, and now we can see it on screen. Ford Koch, you said he had caught the back of him. Now it's looking like he is ready to pounce immediately.
And I tell you what, Jim Johnson also just threw it down the inside of turn number 5, the cars that we were just watching. But there is what we are talking about, the battle for 3rd place overall. That's that black car of Koch starting to really work over Keith Grant directly in front of him. And the other thing that you had just mentioned a couple laps ago, you're right, Anna Checchi is starting to close it in on the number 3.
She's got it down to about 1.2 seconds. It's kind of ebbed back and forth between herself and Cody. He's doing the best he can to keep her at bay. But the good news for her is that she no longer has Keith Grant very close behind her either. Instead, Keith is quite distracted at the moment, if we're honest. And in fact, I wonder if we might get a move into turn 1, depending on how brave Ford is.
I don't think he's quite close enough here. What I would try to do is really maximize the run through turn number 1, get crucial on the car placement up and over the Alabama roller coaster, which is this section right here from turn 2, 3, and 4. And then hopefully you can get on the gas maybe that little bit sooner than Keith Grant and use the slipstream all the way down to turn number 5. He's only about 1 car length back. Keith Grant's going to kind of go to the right side of the racetrack. Ford Koch takes a look down the inside. Keith Grant took it crazy deep on the brakes, maintains the position.
Oof, he was all over the inside curb, was Ford Koch. We have a yellow flag going for something. I did see that Todd Rutura had a bit of an off at turn 1, but I wouldn't think that would be a flag for that incident since he's since left the scene.
I see car 44 had spun at turn 13, and now Koch is down the inside of the museum corner, and you're right, full course yellow.
Oh.
He's got to be aware. There he is. He gets the message, and I mean... talk about frustration from a driver. You're just about to finally make the pass that you've been working on for the last several laps, and that full course yellow comes out.
Well, call Keith Grant Zach Morris. He was saved by the bell on that one because, my goodness, it was close to losing that podium spot. But that's not the greatest of news because they'll still get a restart, and Ford will be right there, and it's going to be even more crazy without a doubt because there's so many cars around once we get to that restart. Oh, and it looks like there's a big incident with Tom Rogers.
That's what I was noticing, Tom Rogers, and this is a large incident. This is in turn number 13, so that's what we call the tunnel turn. The car is completely unweighted at the top and can get very, very light on its feet, and that was an impact what looked to be on the right side wall.
I'd mentioned that the walls are close on either side, and that is a frequent incident that can happen there. Is drivers will go a little bit wide, and then if they catch the grass on the left-hand side, they lose the grip. It spits the car over to the other side, and you wind up smacking into the barriers. It's quite common, and for Tom Rogers, he's the latest victim on that one. It was looking like a great recovery for at least a little bit for Tom after he had another off at turn 6, but just wasn't meant to be today. So your order currently for your top 3 in each class, he's Cody Knight, your leader, after he stole that lead away from our pole sitter. Anna Checki sits in second, and then it is Keith Grant. There's your Pro-Am podium currently. Down in the Masters, Bill Pelichewski sits in the lead. You've got Greg Checki behind him. And then Jim Johnson is moved up into third, interestingly. So, nicely done. I'm not sure if we've ever called Jim on the podium in this series. I'll have to see if I can pull some stats up on that. But he is split by Spencer Proper between himself and Greg at the moment.
Gotta love to see the 88 up towards the front. I see the corner workers already tending to the stricken car of the 44 out there, getting some of the debris off of the racetrack. I also see the driver's door side open over there and just kind of patiently waiting as we are under full course yellow. And I kind of want to expand on your point too. It's a little bit of a shame, especially with this 44, given that he was on the comeback charge, right? Had a little bit of a slip up at the beginning, and he certainly seemed to have a lot of speed, but just maybe got away from him.
Can happen to the best of us, especially considering you had mentioned this to me last night about how many cars this track has eaten up this weekend. It has been punishing, so I don't think he needs to feel too much shame about this one. It has caught even some top-end IndyCar drivers out with simple mistakes.
And, you know, I couldn't see anything from the incident from any of the cars around, and it definitely looked like a solo type of deal. Because remember, he had passed Spencer Proper maybe a lap or 2 ago. And so I think it really was just the 44 out there pushing as hard as he possibly could to catch up to that rest of the Masters class to try to gain some more of those spots.
Here's where it gets interesting as well. We mentioned this is, we believe, the first time Cody Knight has led in this series. Not only is it going to be the first time he's led, it's going to be the first time he's ever restarted the race from the lead. So, Joey, what as a driver do you need to focus on? If you were there trying to coach an inexperienced driver up at the front, what tips would you be telling them?
I do feel that the restarts are a little bit more simple than a traditional start of the race. Typically what you want to tell your driver is make sure your equipment is ready to go, right? We're under yellow flag here, so everything is cooling down, and if you're not careful about where you're driving under the yellow flag, you can actually pick up a lot of the marbles and dirt and debris that's offline on the racetrack. So number 1, make sure your equipment is ready to go. Number 2, make sure your driver is ready to go. Make sure they know, hey, when do the lights go out? Are the lights still on? Are we going green this time? And then go through that restart procedure with them. Typically, it's about turn 12 or so that we'll see our pace car accelerate away from the field, and then really it's in the hands of Cody Knight out there. And in my opinion, if I was going to start a restart here at Barber, I would be slow pace car speed all the way through 16, and as soon as you get to the apex of 17, I would stand on the gas, because nobody can physically get on the gas that early other than you.
That's a good point. Now, as far as our other leader down in the Masters, Bill Pelichewski, I was looking things up, and he's got a second and a third so far. If he can get a first, we could see him get the triplicate in the first 4 races. Not too shabby to get up to the top step of the podium if he feels like he can hold off Greg Checki, who was our winner yesterday as well. So he's got some stiff competition behind him. Now, speaking of the Knights, we've got Chad Knight joining us up here in the booth. Welcome up here, Chad. First of all, you must be pretty chuffed to see Cody leading the way.
Yeah, this is really exciting. I obviously wish I was out there with him right now, but yeah, as a proud dad, this is pretty cool.
What has been your impression of this track this weekend? Is this your first time visiting here?
It is, yeah. It's the first time for both Cody and me. The track is it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, it's way different than where we were last race at Sebring. Couldn't be probably less like it.
What parts of the circuit really stood out to you in this Cayman this weekend? I've driven it on the sim a lot, but I've never got to experience it in a real car. What really stood out?
Yeah, I practiced it a lot on the sim before coming out here, and you don't really get a good feel for the elevation change. When you're coming down into one, you're really dropping down in there, and then coming back out after three. So that's a real big adjustment. You have some blind sections of the track where you're coming over a crest, for example, at turn 14. And so it really takes some adjustment once you get out of here. You're doing it for real, so to speak, to get your way around here.
So how do you feel about your season in general, though, so far? You were here with us a few times in 2025. Now we're into 2026. Has this felt like a step up, or is there work to do?
Oh, there's always work to do. Yeah. No, I think we had a really strong finish to last year in Atlanta. So we were really, both Cody and I, looking forward to this season and taking the next step and hopefully doing what we're seeing Cody do right now, which is moving up to the front of the field, which is a product of working hard and experience.
Now, being the father of the leader of this race, is there going to be special celebrations if you can bring it home?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be getting it too, because we have a nice competition between the two of us. So if he can bring this home, he's going to have a good time with me, I'm sure.
I have no doubt on that one as we watch them head down the backstretch. I'm trying to see if we can spot the lights out. Yes, so lights are out. So we're going to be getting restarted soon. Before we bring Joey back in when we go back green, anything you want to tell us about coming up this season? Any big plans?
We're just looking forward to the rest of the season. We got Sonoma coming up here in about a week and a half. We'll be heading out there, and we have, for Cody and I especially, we have a few more new tracks for us that we haven't raced before. So we'll be doing a lot of prep work. But yeah, this is such a great series, and we're having a great time doing it.
I love getting to call it and see you guys all compete, but it looks like we're getting ready to restart as the safety car is headed in, and Cody will lead the way. He gets the green flag, and we fly down towards turn one. Immediately, Ford Koch is on the attack. He's going to try and see if he can get by Keith Knight. He breaks deep into turn one, and he is through before they're even out of the first corner. It looks like Bill Pelichewski is well able to overtake Todd Rutura early. We'll see if he can hold on to that, because that will put a buffer between himself and Greg Checky. Back around towards turn 5, and already Cody's trying to get himself away from Anna, but Anna's got her hands full, because here comes Koch down to the inside of that left-hand hairpin, and he's going to get a good shot off of it. He's already looking like he might be able to overtake if he can fully get by before Museum Corner.
He's certainly all the way up alongside. It's a breaking duel, and Anna Checky does not back out of it. She hangs tough, forces Koch the long way around the outside. We're going to see maybe about a little bit of an over-under. Koch maybe struggling, putting the power down, looking for a new way around.
Anna Checky's biggest fan, besides maybe Greg right now, is got to be Cody Knight, asking her, just hold him up a little bit longer. He is so fast right now. I need a little help, but unfortunately it won't come for long. Down into 12. We've seen that go wrong so many times, but he makes a brave move to take P2.
And you saw the wiggles out of the car as it was light on its feet up and over that crest. Ford Koch definitely driving this car at the absolute limit right now. He sees his target firmly out of his windshield. That is the number 3 car. We're going to see if Cody Knight can hang tough and be an immovable rock.
Down into 1 once again. We have 13 minutes plus 1 lap to go, so there's still plenty of racing. And Bill Pelichewski now has 2 cars between himself. Jim Johnson as well. Something must have happened to Greg Checky. Jim Johnson got by Greg somewhere.
Jim Johnson looking racy out there at Barber Motorsports Park, and I think I see the 59. That is Todd Rotura looking down the inside of Bill Pelichewski here in turn number 5. That's the Nerds Machine stuck to the outside. Rotura up a spot. And now, crucially, Pelichowski only has one car buffer between himself and that master second place.
He's no doubt going to be fighting Proper if Proper tries to overtake him, because he would like to keep that little space between he and Jim Johnson. Curious whether the trophy case for Jim has enough space next to the Grammy that he could put one of the ones here from Sprint Challenges. It's been a while since he's finished in the top 3. But this Masters class tends to see a lot of competition. He's proving himself today as we run down the backstretch towards the chicane of the tunnel turn.
And I think that our leader is starting to come under a lot more pressure as we ride on board Greg Checky here. This is the number 72. This was the car that you were mentioning maybe fell down a couple spots. He's got Jim Johnson in the 88 directly in front of him. I tell you what, Jim is looking racy today. Look at him down the inside of 15. Now he's looking down the inside of 17. Room being given, but he's going to have to wait a little bit later to make the pass.
Whatever he had for breakfast, he needs to have more of that. This is the best I've seen him running in quite some time. There is still a very close fight between himself and Greg, as Greg Checky keeps him within striking range. We'll have to watch down into turn 5, because that is an easy spot to make a dive if you've got enough of a run. It is still Cody Knight leading, but it looks like it's too far apart for Jim to try and attack our leader in the Masters. No, excuse me, not our leader, Spencer Proper, rather, in front of him from the Pro-Am class.
And I will say that he was a little bit wide coming out of turn number 4. It certainly opened the door for Spencer Proper to get a run down into turn number 5, but all 3 of those cars really took it crazy deep on that brake pedal pressure down into Charlotte's Web corner, so they maintained those positions. Right now it is Spencer Proper trying to edge out a little bit of a gap over that number 88.
Fascinating battles happening. The top 2 are starting to pull away of the overall lead. Cody and Ford are getting themselves well clear of Anichecki. I think Cody's got a fire lit under him. He knows he has to hustle.
Yeah, and I think we're down to 0.3 of a second between that battle that you were talking about, the number 3 and the number 23, as we continue to watch Jim Johnson here now being defensive against Greg Checky through what is 14, 15, 16 in the final corner of 17. I can report, though, that Cody Knight had an excellent sector number 3, actually grew that gap a little bit.
I said he was pushing, and he set his personal best. Unfortunately for him, Ford Koch set the fastest lap of anybody that last lap by. It was 0.3 that he knocked out of it. As we continue to watch the fight behind them between Pelichowski, Proper, Johnson, and Checky. Those drivers are going to be eager to try and take those positions for that class win. But up at the very front, it is now bumper to bumper. Ford Koch has reached the rear of Cody Knight.
He is firmly in the slipstream, maybe half a car length back as we approach the museum corner. Takes a little bit of a peek down to the inside, but Cody is doing such an excellent job right here. It can be so difficult when you've got the pressure out the back end in that rear view mirror to focus on your brake markers, to focus on your apexes, and all you need to do is drive a clean race, and it makes it so difficult to get by you.
He is going to be forged in the fire today. So far, he's standing up to it. 10 minutes plus a lap to go. He's doing a great job here. We saw how quick Ford Koch was yesterday, as he was our overall winner. And he's trying to go back-to-back here as he was parachuted in this race. He wasn't here for the first 2 rounds back in Sebring. And this is going to be oh so important to Cody, because he is here for the full season.
And I will say that I think it's Keith Grant, Todd Ratura, and also Bill Pelichowski getting into it a little bit. They are in a heated battle here, or was on the front straightaway. I think it was Ratura that actually overtook Keith Grant that lap. So he's up into that 4th place position. He's going to see if he can go chase down Anichecki. And I was going to make the comment between the 3 and the 23, talking about our overall leaders here. I do think that Koch is significantly faster in this first half of the racetrack, but Cody Knight is absolutely nailing the back half.
So for him, that maybe gets the distance that he needs in the first half, because you got those passing opportunities down into turn 5 that he needs to be far enough away. He set another personal best last time by. I'm a little bit surprised by Keith Grant, especially with how strong he was looking prior to today's race. Not sure if there may be something a little bit wrong with the car, but Todd Ratura certainly showed him what's what, getting that 4th spot. As we watch from above, back on the battle for the lead in the Masters once again.
Yeah, Spencer Proper is kind of the Pro-Am car that's leading this group. And just in front of him is that pink Nerds machine. That's our Masters class lead, but it's really this second and third car in line, at least on the TV screens here. That's Jim Johnson, second place in Masters, and Greg Checky, third place in Masters here. That is a fight for a podium position, and Jim's really been one of our biggest movers so far.
This has got to be a nervous position for Spencer Proper because, again, he's not fighting them for class position, but the overall position is going to be just as important to him. He does not want to give that one up. In fact, he probably wants to run down Bill Pelichewski and get to with his own class because Keith Grant is the next one up the road just ahead of Bill right now that he's going after.
And let me tell you, Ford Koch dropped 2 wheels on the exit of turn number 17, and he dropped 2 wheels on the exit of turn number 3 as well. He had a huge handful of counter steer through turn number 1. The driver of this black number 23 is pushing as hard as he possibly can.
He set another purple lap, did Ford Koch. But Cody Knight, for the 3rd lap in a row, set his personal best. He's continuing to get faster. He's finding what he needs, at least for the time being, but he's doing so under crazy amounts of pressure up at the front of the field. They'll come back down the hill as we keep watching Spencer Proper holding off Jim Johnson and Greg Checky, and I think they're being caught up by Tad Cusack as well.
And now we ride on board with the number 23, and that's a little bit of what I was talking about, just using every single millimeter of this track that we've got down here in Alabama, and this is actually as close as Ford has been. Look at the huge handful of counter steer up and over turn number 13. Talk about some car control and being loose.
Is it going to be Ford that blinks first in this one? We're seeing the mistakes out of him instead as he tries to drive this car to the front, but it is not working quite yet. And Cody holds his own, continuing on for yet another lap in the lead.
And you know, I'm watching the onboard every single time down the front straightaway. Ford is kind of reaching down with his left hand. I think he's got a little bit of an air vent down there, kind of pulling some fresh air towards the driver, as he's still in the heat of a battle.
It really is, and this is a bit warmer today compared to yesterday, nearly 70 degrees out there, which is fine for our fans that we love seeing out there on the viewing hills, but he's oh so close coming off of Charlotte's Web. Will he try to attack coming into the braking for Museum Corner? We watch on board, and it looks like he's going to send it inside. Is he fully through? He is.
New leader, the number 23 of Ford Koch. Now we're going to see if the number 3 car has an answer, has a response, but finds himself in a very, very familiar spot once again with a clean windshield out front.
And I don't want Cody Knight to feel bad about this one. He was up against some stiff competition. Now he has to focus on bringing it home in a second. He's still got a podium in hand if he can make it 5 more minutes plus 1 lap. I mean, they were running such incredible pace. Look at the gap between those two and Anna Checky.
Yeah, 4 seconds they've already put on Anna. And I mean, they've been turning identical laps. And, you know, if I was on the radio with the number 3, I would say, keep on pushing. You saw how much that car was sliding around underneath Koch. Maybe you can go up there and take advantage, because guess what? There's less than 5 minutes left.
And this makes for a great measuring stick for Cody as well, because Anna won the first 2 races back at Sebring. So if he can beat her, he knows that he's got good chances as long as Ford doesn't show up for more rounds this season. Even still, he's holding on to him, so even if Ford does come back, this is looking pretty good for Knight.
Very, very smooth through turn number 5. Oh, maybe a little bit of counter steer. So the biggest difference that I see between the 23 and the 3 is that maybe Ford Koch was using up a little bit more tire, trying to get by Cody Knight for those, handful of laps. And while Cody was out there just cruising with clean air out front, it looks like we've got another battle here coming out of what is turn number 5.
Jim is itching to get by Spencer Proper, but he just can't seem to find an opening. I want to give Spencer a lot of credit in this situation. That's not going to be easy. And coming down through Museum Corner once again, he keeps Jim from managing to find some sort of way through. And Jim has got to watch out, because I have no doubt that Greg Checky is going to pounce as soon as Jim falters.
If he sees an open door, he is certainly going to stick his foot in it. And I think that Jim Johnson is on full attack straight ahead right now. And like you said, Spencer Proper is running one heck of a race and not making any sort of mistake, so it's making life incredibly difficult for Jim. He can't get by Spencer, and he's really got to focus on the rear guard of Greg Checky.
We've been seeing every once in a while Keith Grant and Bill Pelichewski swap positions on the timing tower, but then they go by us and they're back to where they were. I wonder if Bill's kind of sticking his nose in somewhere in those final few corners where we haven't gotten visual of him recently. Whatever the case, he still is trying to put himself farther away from Spencer Proper and Keith, or from Jim Johnson rather, by using Spencer Proper and Keith Grant as a buffer. We're down to 2 minutes plus 1 lap. It's the final stages here.
This is that battle that we're talking about. So that's Spencer Proper in this lead car, Jim Johnson, the second car, and then Greg Checky, the third car in line. A little bit kind of in the middle of the track there from the first and third cars. Jim Johnson was more on the what it's called the typical racing line here, but now kind of equal distant down this back straightaway towards the museum corner. If there was a characteristic I was going to pick out between the three, I think the 88, kind of the meat in the sandwich, is really confident on that brake pedal.
Which could come in handy if you can just get the run coming up and over 3 and 4 there. We'll have to work on it. He's starting to drop off coming along the backside of the track, and now Greg is starting to fill the mirrors a little bit more. Mr. Checky is knocking and seeing if he could maybe do something soon. In fact, he cuts back underneath, coming over the tunnel turn. It's hard to make a pass at that part, and he knows it as he kicks up some dirt going shallow.
And this is the area that I thought that Jim was really, really aggressive and fast on the racetrack earlier in the session. And sure enough, he was able to pull it out just a little bit over Greg Checky there through turn number 16 and 17. I also think I saw that Tad Cusack made a pass on Greg Herback.
Excellent stuff from Tad Cusack. This is going to be a very good race for him. He's looking at a potential 4th if he could bring it home from here, which is getting more and more likely because the clock is getting ever closer to 0. We keep saying plus 1 lap. If you're new to the series, the clock will hit 0, and the next time by is when they will wave the white flag.
And, you know, I watched our leader come across the line, and it was very, very close to about 1:30 as he went by. So it'll be interesting to see if he does get the white flag this time or next time.
Exactly, and his laps have been looking just under 1:30. So, yeah, it's going to be nip and tuck to see which they signal to him when he crosses the line. As we still watch to see, and yet this stalemate has not changed. It is Spencer Proper 7th overall, Jim Johnson 8th overall, and Greg Checky 9th. But the important thing is Jim and Greg are fighting for 2nd in their class. White flag is being waved. 1 to go for Ford Koch to go back-to-back.
I think that Koch just needed to settle into the rhythm with a clean windshield because he went purple. Sector 2 laid down a 129.6. And for reference, everybody, there is not a single car out there turning 130 under. It is only him.
Amazing stuff. Bill Pelichewski crossed the line. As Greg Checky's made a little bit of a look down at turn 1, but doesn't quite make it work. We're watching our leader currently, Ford Koch. He did not have it all his own way. A little bit of a mistake at one point sent him backwards, but what a nice bounce back. And he's going to be able to take home 2 victories pretty soon because of it.
And I think this is going to be a race that, as a driver, he's going to look back on it and be very proud of it, right? Maybe a little bit of a bobble or 2 to get things going, but it didn't phase him, right? He didn't let it rattle him at all. He gathered it back up. He made the passes methodically, 1, 2, 3, and then he even got held up by the full course yellow when he was going to make that pass. So this has been a tremendous race for Ford Koch. He's definitely going to be very proud of this one.
You can't get them all perfect, but it's how you react to those mistakes that makes the difference. And I think we've illustrated that beautifully here today. Our last race of the entire weekend here at Barber Motorsports Park is going to be a real celebration for Ford Koch because he rounds the final corner. He takes victory in race 2 for the Caymans.
Cody Knight crosses the line in second, a valiant performance, and Anna Checky is about 7 seconds back. Here she comes across the line, claiming that final spot on the podium in Pro-Am.
Meanwhile, we wait for Bill Pelichewski. It was close between Todd and Keith Grant. Todd Rutura will take 4th by the smallest of margins. It looked like Greg Checky had a big moment behind them.
And it was crucially Pelachewski winning that Masters class, and then Jim Johnson hanging on to second place there in Masters, with Greg Checky coming home in third.
The last of the cars across the line. Unfortunately, a few DNFs for today, but it is Ford Koch, your winner. Cody Knight taking a second place, a wonderful podium. Anna Checky getting another to her extensive list now, taking third. Todd Rutura was in P4 with Keith Grant in fifth. Bill Pelachewski with a win, his first of this season over Spencer Proper, who was seventh overall. Then Jim Johnson on the podium, his first in I don't know how long, honestly, in that 88 with second. Greg Checky was P3. From there, the overall, you had Greg Herback finishing 10th, Tad Cusack 11th, Rob Schrollinger 12th, and Todd Kerr in the 13th spot. Rogers Drowan at night, a DNF. We have the post-race show coming up very shortly, so don't go away.
When was the last time you drove your Porsche to watch some racing and you got to drive on the same racetrack? Welcome to the Porsche GT Track Day. Coaching from Porsche experts to go from recon laps to being let loose on track in your own car. VIP hospitality, paddock access, and more. Space is limited. Book now.
I'm ready. We've got our winner in the Masters category, Bill Pelachewski. Bill, it looked like you were using some of those Pro-Am cars as a nice little buffer out there.
It was a strategy to try to get a little bit of buffer between everybody. The opening was a little tough starting third, but managed to kind of get past my my really good competitors, and it was a great race, and feel sorry for Tom's car, but it was a really great race, and I thank Kelly Moss and James, my coach, this weekend. So it's a great weekend.
In 4 races, you've had a third, a second, and a first now. I'm sure you don't feel like you filled a quota. Can we see some more firsts?
We hope to. We'll see out in Sonoma how we do there, but it was a lot of fun. Always fun here.
And the most important question, we've had a question from Joey on whether or not you'd get a Skittles car for him at some point.
You never know. I'll put that on the list. Never know.
All right. Well, congratulations. Enjoy the victory.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Great series. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Ford Koch, our winner, back-to-back this weekend. But Ford, you had to fight for this one. How was it with Cody out there?
It was a lot of fun. I definitely had to work for this one a little more. I put myself in a bad spot on lap 1, but we were able to redeem ourselves and get back. It took a little longer than I thought. I had the little luck of the safety car, but after that, we fought with Cody for 5 or 6 laps, and it was a fun battle, and I'm excited to move on with the momentum here.
Well, Joey and I said we were impressed with how you bounced back. What kind of lessons did you take out of today?
Just to kind of preserve the Yokohama tires and just have enough for the end to fight with Cody at the end. So just like minimizing the mistakes. And I think towards the end we did a better job with that. And the Kelly Moss car was great again today.
Awesome work. Are we going to see you in any more rounds this season?
Most likely the endurance round of Road America. Generally my father's the one running this car, but you'll have my dad for the rest of the season, but I'll be back for Road America.
Well, again, enjoy the victory back-to-back.
Yeah, thank you.
And with that, we will close out our weekend at Alabama. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.